Welcome to Zan Talks, where I take a topic related to gaming and talk about it in detail. Let's go ahead and get this show on the road and start things off with Nintendo Hard. So, the way I look at it, back in the era of arcade games, things were intentionally hard, sometimes absurdly so, and this was in order to get more of your money. This design philosophy kind of carried over to the NES, and many games were very difficult. They had to be in order to keep the player engaged longer. Nowadays, we have hundreds of games. There's always something new that we want to get to, so we try to get through our games quickly. But back in the NES era, games had to last. Many of the games on the NES are actually fairly short, easily beaten in one sitting if you're skilled enough. And that is what Nintendo Hard is. Though these games were hard, many were still fair. They were not hard to do to being punishing or, being unfair, but they were hard due to them requiring a high level of skill. I'm sure there's some bad examples of this out there. Games that were badly made, have poor conveyance, but I want to focus on the good examples to really drive home the meaning I get out of the phrase. Games like Mega Man, where between enemy placement and level design, you never really feel like the game cheats you. It's designed in a way to where you know what is coming, and if you get hit, it was a mistake you made. Honestly, if you want a really good explanation with some examples, watch Egoraptor's Sequelitis video, because he does a fantastic job of outlining the strengths of Mega Man, and has already explained it far better than I could. One area I've noticed it excels at, though, is how quickly it throws you back into the game. If you do die, it doesn't take long to get back to where you were. Change your strategy, and try again. That is what I think is the most important part of doing hard but fair. If a game does everything else right, but when you die you have to go through 30 minutes to an hour of content all over again, it's not fair, that's not fun, that is punishing. A great modern example of doing this right is Super Meat Boy. The game has tight controls and fantastic level design. The first few levels are really easy, and this is designed so you can get used to how Meat Boy feels, get a grip on mechanics like wall sliding and wall jumping, knowing how to run and all that. Then the game gets hard, and it can be frustrating, but every time you die, it's not because something came out of nowhere that you couldn't do anything about. It's usually because you missed a jump, or you tried to rush something that just couldn't be rushed. As you play, you get better and better, and with persistence, you will eventually beat it. The difficulty is based on the skill of the player, and when you die, it instantly respawns you. You're maybe 10 seconds from where you died, because the levels are really short, and you're able to try and try again. This helps you hit that point where you think, I can do better this time, as opposed to thinking the game is cheating you. And that's kind of the point I want to drive home here. You never want to feel like the game cheated you because something off screen suddenly killed you or the random generation screwed you over. Nintendo Hard, when done right, will make you feel like if you keep trying, you'll get better and you'll be able to beat it. Generally, when someone wants a game to be harder, I feel what they really want is a game that requires more skill, more mastery, instead of something they can blow through without feeling challenged. What they don't want is games that are unfair and treat hard as tedious or time-consuming. Enemies that are bullet sponges, random elements with no hint of predictability, enemies that block every attack you throw unless you wait for them to do the one move that leaves them open. These aren't hard, these are designed to waste your time, and your desire to make progress is what may give that illusion of difficulty. You want to make it further in the game, but it is taking longer, so it feels hard. Now, just because games use these elements doesn't mean it's bad necessarily. I Want to Be the Guy is a good example of a punishing game that some people enjoy. Don't be fooled, this game is hard, but not just because of skill, it's also a very tedious game. There are a lot of unpredictable elements that you pretty much have to die to in order to discover them. At that point, it becomes memorization. There's still skill involved, but just be able to recognize the unfair elements that are there to pad more time into the game. And I guess that's all I really want to say on the topic of Nintendo Hard. So if you ever hear me use the term, just remember, the way I look at it, Nintendo Hard is difficulty based on skill and mastery, as opposed to just memorization and luck.